June 4th, 2018. We're taking a look at some of the flooding on the canal.
Real interesting.
Hi, it's Exploring John. We're down here and look at the flooding at the canal in the Potomac River. The river's up so far that it's putting water in the canal, so we're going to go check it out.
Looking downstream at Lock 38, and we can see a lot of water in the canal. Looking upstream, we can see a lot of water in Lock 38, not quite to the top. In the distance, we can see it coming through a culvert pipe, just boiling away. We try and zoom in. Look at the water coming through the pipe. We moved up a bit to get a better look at this. The water's just shooting out. The culvert's underwater and it's got water coming out like that. Real interesting. Look at that water coming out with force. Up above this culvert, the water's up to the towpath. Right up here to the edge of the trail. We look to the left, and the river's right up next to the edge of the trail too. If I had to guess where this water's coming from, it's the waste weir up above Lock 39. Here we're looking at the river underneath the bridge. It's almost up to the towpath.
We came down to the lower Shepherdstown parking lot, the one by the train trestle. We're going to take a look at the flooding down here. So we look in the canal, it's up a lot. Maybe originally it was up a little bit higher. Let's swing over here to the river, and it's right up to the edge here, right behind the signs. It's right up to the edge of the towpath. Another foot and it'll be in it. Right here at the train trestle, the first spot we see water coming over the towpath. And talking to other people on the towpath, this is the only spot between the parking lot by the train trestle and Lock 38. So we're going to take a look at this and then turn around. We're getting these surges of water coming across as the river rises. Now, I was told by a hiker that about a mile downstream from here, which is the parking lot by the train trestle, that there were trees across the canal and it had it blocked. So we're going to leave here and go down to Miller's Sawmill and see if we can get through that. Now, we're not going to go through flooded water, but up to it. As we've come down Canal Road before we got to Pack Horse Ford, we have this big tree across the road, so we're going to have to turn around. We'll go out Harpers Ferry Road, and then we'll come down Miller Sawmill Road and see how big of a pool it is there.
Hey, look at this big tree across the road. It'll need cut up. Coming up here and looking at the tree, kind of looks like the canal flooded and the roots just gave way and it leaned over. We've come down here to Miller Sawmill Road, and the road is closed and it looks like a big puddle. We'll move up closer and see if we can see more. Looking around here, we're at the intersection of Canal Road and Miller Sawmill Road. And it's just a big pool. We can see the towpath on the other side and it's still out of the water. And this here is actually pretty deep because the road dips down there.
We're going to move on down the Harpers Ferry Road and see how far we can get. We've heard that the road was closed at the Ironworks Bridge, but we'll try and look at that and look at the canal down there at the aqueduct.
Come down to the Antietam Aqueduct, but here where the road curves up, the dam, if you will, with the culvert pipe, well, it's all underwater. See a fish going through, just went over the dam. The water's rolling over it. Then looking upstream, it's all flooded, almost to the height it would have been historically. We're gonna go upstream to that little wooden footbridge there at the campground and try and get across and go down to the aqueduct. What the canal would have looked like. We're down here at the footbridge that crosses the canal at the campground. There's still a little bit of space under the bridge, so we're going to cross over and make our way down to the aqueduct. We're here on the footbridge. This is what it would have looked like during canal days with all the water in. We're looking at the campsite here at the Antietam Creek. The Antietam Creek campsite. And it looks pretty much underwater. As we look through the trees, the river's really roaring, flowing fast. We're here at the campground where it's flooded. It's pretty still. And we can barely see the top of the picnic table, and we can see the top of the grill over there. At least the bathrooms are out of the water. Here's that little earthen dam crossover. The water's just rolling over it. Here's the Antietam Aqueduct with water going across it. It was made as a water bridge, and now water's crossing the Antietam Creek on top of it. So the Conococheague is not the only aqueduct with water running across it. We're here on top of the Antietam Aqueduct. We're looking up the Antietam Creek, looking down into the water flowing across the aqueduct, and it's flowing at a pretty good clip, maybe about 4 miles an hour. Here we see some debris coming down, just channeled on across. Alright, from the canal, we'll look over here at the river, and it's up high. It's up real high on the aqueduct. Here we are, looking upstream toward the Ironworks Bridge. Turn around and look at the river. It's just racing downstream. Alright, we're looking at Antietam Aqueduct, and all the arches are underwater. Looking over at the other side, we see 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks sticking out of the water. Here we are looking at the end of the aqueduct. It's only got 4 blocks sticking out of the water. Looking over here into the canal bed, we can see the water just slowly flowing down. That could be about 4 miles an hour. And looking over there at the aqueduct wall, I wouldn't think the water would be up too much higher than that originally. We're on Canal Road at the north end of the campground. Water's across the road here, and up ahead there's a dip, but I'm sure that's underwater now already. This is usually a grassy area at the upper end of the campground where you could just walk across. Now it's flooded to the depth of what the C&O Canal used to be. We came over here to the Ironworks Bridge, and this is as close as we could get. The water's just flooded out of the creek. We look at this field over here on the right, and it's half full of water or better. We made our way down here to the Ironworks Bridge, so we can still see there's some arches left, but not much. Most of 2 of them, and just a little bit of the 3rd one on the right. We're looking upstream off the bridge, and we can see the big ledge is gone. It's just a nice pool. We're able to get up on top of the bridge. We can see all the flooding that closed the road is on the other side. This is looking downstream. We came down here to the little earthen bridge with a culvert at the end of Lime Kiln Road. We look into the canal bed and there's hardly anything in there. A little bit of water, but nothing like up ahead. So where's all that water going? Uh-oh, doesn't sound good to me. Well, there's water running down the canal and into the lock here at Lock 37. Not as much as what's up at the Antietam Aqueduct, but still a little bit of water. See, the locks above, they're pretty full. This is nowhere near as flooded as it is above.
So this makes me think, where'd all that water go? Maybe there's a breach in the canal. Maybe we'll walk up and see, but it's starting to get dark. I'm back here the next day. It's June 5th. From the Shepherdstown Lock, Lock 38, I can see the water's dropped over a foot there. So we came down here by the aqueduct and see what the water looks like here. Just looking around, it looks about the same, maybe just a little bit lower than yesterday. But we're going to walk downstream to see where all that water was going, because we didn't see it at Limekiln Road parking lot. So let's go take a look.
We were here at the aqueduct yesterday. We can see the water levels dropped a bit and the flow's gone. It's pretty still now. Look over to the left, we see the creek's down. And we look over here to the river. Look how much it's dropped. We're going to go over and look for the arches. We were here yesterday, and this thing was way higher than this. We counted the cap rock and 3 more from the top, how deep it was. And now we see arches and all. The river really dropped a lot in one day. Remember seeing this yesterday? It was all the way up, only about 3 blocks left, and now look how far down the river is. It dropped a lot. Here we're showing the landing for the Ironworks. We're just south of the Antietam Creek Aqueduct on the C&O Canal. And looking at the water going across it. We are seeing a lot of big fish here in the canal, swimming around. You see it? Wasn't that neat?
We're walking down the canal to see where the water's going. Now the water wasn't rushing across the aqueduct today like it was yesterday. It's reached its level and it's now still.
We had to cross the Ironworks Bridge on Harpers Ferry Road. And I decided to show you how much the river dropped and dropped the creek. The creek is still backed up. It's at the river level. And some of these ledges here on the creek are gone. But that's a big drop from yesterday, isn't it? On we go.
Well, the big amount of water never made it down here to the Limekiln Road parking lot. This berm over the canal, the pipe in it, looks like a little bit of water's passed through, but not like it has upstream. So it's reached a level somewhere and it's just seeping through. Where did the water come from? Now some of it was because Snyder's Landing was underwater, so it entered the canal there. Also, above Lock 39 has a waste weir, and the river was up high enough that it could enter there also. Now I can imagine somewhere upstream, dirt is accumulated in the canal bed, and it's formed a dam there, and that's holding most of the water back. Well, I never thought in my lifetime I'd see the canal watered, but I did. This is the end of our report. The flooding on the C&O Canal in early June 2018. See you next time.